Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to this short little episode on how to put together Ashlock connectors. This information will also translate into putting together servo connectors as well too and crimping those connectors. So stay tuned and we will put together an Ashlock connector. Alright guys, so we are going to do these Ashlock connectors. So this is all the stuff that we need to get the wing connector set up. As I've talked about previously, with the Ashlock connectors, there are male and female connectors. The ones I like to use on the wing itself is this one, which ends up having the pins installed in the connector itself, and as I've shown you in previous videos, you've got these pins sticking out which you can then plug a servo lead onto and plug into your receiver, and then you've got full control of your wing. So we need the Ashlock connectors. I've marked this one to match the connector that we did on the other wing already. So we've got speed brake, aileron, flap 1, flap 2, and then I've marked a little white mark here, and that's for our orientation of our wires. So we're going to go white, red, blue, white, red, blue, white, red, blue, white, red, blue, all the way across. Okay, so we've got that. We need our little pin connectors, right? So I've got a bunch of those already opened up and in the little package here. So I'll take those out. We need 12 of them. Okay, so there's our connector pieces. We obviously need some wire. If you've watched the previous videos, these wires matched the left wing that we did already. So we've got two longer pieces here for the aileron and speed brake. We've got a middle one here for flap number 2 and a shorter one here for flap number 1. So those are all of our wire sections. We need a pair of wire strippers. Now these are, I'm definitely not sponsored by Klein Tools. Klein Tools, if you want to sponsor the channel, I wouldn't say no. So the Klein Tools ones, which are nice wire cutters, and we've also got all the smaller gauges, so 16 to 26 gauge listed on the wire strippers. So a nice pair of wire strippers is helpful. If you use crappy wire strippers, it's going to make for a poor cut. So and these are not specifically PowerBox, but these are, I know PowerBox sells them, and these are nicer crimpers. I've used some other crimpers out there and was not happy with them, partly because you get used to a certain set of crimpers, but anyways, these are the crimpers that I use to make my connections. So let's go through how to make these connectors. So I'll do flap number 1 first, and flap number 1 is going to be the short wire connector. So the first thing I do is I strip about 3 millimeters of housing off the wire. So hopefully you can see it there. It's not much, but you got to remember that when you put this all together, the wire itself is getting crimped in that part of the connector, and the bent screwdrivers help here. Okay, so the wire itself, so the copper conductor, is getting crimped in this part of the connector. This part of the connector is supposed to go over the sheathing or the housing. So if you take off too much housing, it's not necessarily the worst thing, but your connection's more susceptible to breaking from wire fatigue. You want to get that crimped on the housing. So that's kind of where you're lining it up, right like that. And you want to be able to see that when you put it inside your crimper. So I'll show you guys how I do this. So I take all the sheathing off the one end. So there we go, they all match. Then what I'll do is I will twist those wires so they're nice and snug. There we go. So that's done. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is get our pin installed in the crimper. This is a little bit hard to show you. Now the reason I say it's hard is because obviously I'm missing some digits on my left hand. So I actually end up using my chest a lot for doing stuff like this, and that's just because of my disability. But what I'll do is hold these crimpers on my chest, and that's probably why I like these ones. Okay, and just get the pin started. So it's not sticking through that side at all, and that's where it's sitting on the other side. Now if you take these pins, these Ashlock pins, and you come too far out on this side, it's actually going to crimp this end kind of funny, and it'll put a bend in it that's a little bit difficult to deal with. So that's how I do that. And then what I do is I take my wire like this. So I'll do the red one first because that's what I grabbed. I'm obviously switching hands with the crimper tool. And we're going to put it in there. And then I'm looking from the other side, trying to capture this on camera for you. Okay, looking through the other side, and I'm getting it lined up where I want to crimp that copper conductor. Once I'm good, you squeeze your crimps all the way, and that's our connection right there. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the pin to clamp onto the sheathing, and the second section here to clamp onto the wire. So that is a perfect connection there. So I'm going to do these other two, and then I will show you installing this into the connector. Okay guys, so we've got all of our pins installed here on the one end of the wire. So now I'll show you putting this into the Ashlock connector. Now I'll show you kind of a couple things here with the different wire colors. We've got the power box, the new leads that come with some of the gyros. So you've got white, which is signal, red, and blue. Red is positive, blue is negative. So that's the layout on the power box. Okay, on high-tech connectors, or what I know as high-tech connectors, your yellow is your signal wire, then you've got red and black. Okay, so that's how it relates to the different connectors. So the power box wire is the same thing as this servo lead where you've got white, red, and blue. So we've got signal, positive, negative. Okay, so that's how we're treating these things. So what we want to do, because this is flap number 1, okay, all we're going to do is we're going to take our Ashlock connector. Now you'll see that there is these little square holes here, okay, and there's nothing on the other side. So on the Ashlock connectors, or pins, there's a little tab that sticks up right there. Okay, that little tab goes into that little square, and that's what holds it in place. Now, when we lay out our wires, we're starting with white because that's where I marked it. Okay, so we're going to come through, like this. So we're going with white first. And you'll hear it click, and you can pull on it, and you'll know what's in there. Our next one is red. And our next one is blue. I'm just going to unwind this around the red one because it's a little bit snug. Okay, so that is our flap number 1. Okay, we're in the right spot there. And now, if we want to connect this, once it's all connected, we just take our servo end, plug it in there. Be careful with this because it's not limited or anything. It can go in both ways. And that allows us to plug it into our receiver. Okay, so that is how we do these Ashlock connectors. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to finish the rest of these connectors on the Ashlock end. And then what I'll do is I will go and I will put our female ends that the actual servo is going to plug into on the other end, because when you fish this through, you want to have somewhere to plug the servo into. So that's how we do these connectors. I'll go through and I'll do these the rest of them, and I'll show you the final result, what we're looking at. All right, guys, wiring harness is all made up. So we've got the same pattern on all 4 of our connection points there, and then we've got the different wiring lengths going all the way throughout the wing. All right, guys, and that is everything for putting together these Ashlock connectors. Hopefully you got something out of this this quick little video. If you do have any questions, don't forget to post them down below. You can also reach out to me by email at thelightersideofrc@gmail.com. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't done so already, so you don't miss out on any of the future videos. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.